I'm Harper 34, standing in a polished office, the kind with glass walls that catch the city's skyline in sharp reflections. The air hums with the faint buzz of a high-stakes deal, and I'm here to seal one that could save my husband's company. My hands are steady, but the air feels thick like a storm's brewing under the surface. Then I see him across the table. Nathan, my first love, who vanished without a trace years ago. His crooked smile hasn't changed, but his eyes hold a secret, something guarded and cold. My heart races with memories of love betrayal and questions I buried deep. The room's sleek lines blur as I grip my folder, the leather cool against my palms. Why is he here? What does this mean for me? Have you ever faced a ghost from your past? Share where you're watching from, and please like and subscribe to join my journey. My name's Harper, and I'm 34, sitting at this polished conference table trying to keep my voice steady. The room smells faintly of coffee and new carpet, a sterile scent that clings to my throat, and I'm clutching a stack of papers Lucas spent weeks preparing, their edges worn from my nervous fingers. My husband's tech startup is bleeding money, and this deal could be our lifeline. I'm no expert, but I've always been the one to step up when things get tough, the one who fixes what's broken. Nathan sits across from me, his suit crisp, his posture relaxed like he owns the room. He's leading the investor group, and his presence is like a weight on my chest, pressing harder with every breath. I start my pitch talking about our software's potential, but my words feel clumsy, like they're tripping over each other. Nathan's eyes meet mine, and for a split second, his voice catches just a flicker of something familiar, like a song I used to know. "Impressive," he says, but it's clipped professional, like we're strangers. My stomach twists, a sharp pang I can't shake. I expected anger, maybe regret, but not this cold distance, this erasure of everything we were. I push through outlining revenue projections, my voice echoing slightly in the high-ceilinged room, but my mind drifts to that summer when I was 19. Nathan and I would drive to this little lake outside town, the water so still it mirrored the stars, its surface unbroken except for the occasional ripple of a fish. We'd lie on a blanket talking about dreams, promising we'd build a life together, our voices soft against the night. Then one night, he got a call, his face paling as he stepped away, his shadow long against the grass. He never came back. No note, no explanation. I spent months calling his old number, driving past his house, its windows dark, hoping for answers that never came. Now he's here acting like none of it happened, like I'm just another name on a contract. I glance at him, searching for a crack in his facade, but he's scribbling notes, nodding at his colleague, his pen moving with infuriating calm. It's like I'm invisible, a ghost he's chosen to ignore. A woman next to me. Sheila leans in during a pause, her badge glinting under the lights. Her perfume is sharp like citrus, cutting through the room's sterile air. "You okay?" she whispers, her brow furrowing, her eyes kind but searching. I nod, but my hands are clammy, betraying me. Sheila's eyes linger, like she's piecing something together, reading the tension in my shoulders. "Just watch yourself," she adds softly. "His company's got a reputation." Her words land like a stone, heavy and cold, sinking into my gut. I want to ask more, but Nathan cuts in, asking about our user retention rates, his voice smooth and expectant. I fumble the answer, my voice too quiet, barely carrying across the table. He tilts his head, a faint smirk tugging at his lips, and I feel small, like I'm 19 again, waiting for him to show up at that lake, my hope fading with the moonlight. My phone buzzes in my bag, a soft vibration against my thigh, and I know it's Audrey, my sister. She's been texting all morning, ever since I told her who I was meeting. She's 3 years older, always the one to fight my battles when we were kids. Her fists clenched for me before I knew I needed defending. Last night she sat on my couch, her dark hair pulled back, her voice sharp, her coffee untouched. "You need to call him out, Harper. He doesn't get to waltz back in like nothing happened." I told her I had to focus on the deal, but she wouldn't let it go, her eyes fierce with that big sister protectiveness. "You're stronger than this," she said, her words a challenge I wasn't sure I could meet. Now, as Nathan drones on about equity shares, his voice a steady hum, I feel her words pressing against me, urging me to say something, anything. But I don't. I can't. Not yet. The meeting breaks for lunch and I slip into the hallway, my heels clicking on the tile, each step echoing in the empty corridor. I check my phone and Audrey's message is there, all caps, "Don't let him off easy." I lean against the wall, its cool surface grounding me, and close my eyes, the fluorescent hum overhead like a distant pulse. Sheila's warning echoes, mixing with Nathan's indifference, a tangle of doubt and dread. I came here to save Lucas's dream, but now I'm unraveling, caught between a past I can't escape and a future I'm terrified to lose. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but the air feels thinner, like I'm standing on the edge of something I can't see, the city outside the window, indifferent to my struggle. I'm still leaning against the hallway wall, my phone hot in my hand from Audrey's text, its screen glowing faintly in the dim light. The office hums around me, voices spilling from the conference room where Nathan's team is regrouping, their murmurs sharp and clipped. I should be in there strategizing, but my legs feel rooted, heavy as lead. I shove my phone back in my bag and head to the restroom, hoping cold water on my face will snap me out of this fog. The mirror shows my eyes red-rimmed, betraying the calm I'm trying to fake, my reflection a stranger under the harsh lights. I splash water, the chill biting my skin, and grip the sink, its porcelain cold against my palms. I'm Harper, 34, and I'm supposed to be stronger than this, not crumbling under the weight of a man who walked away. Back in the conference room, the air's different, charged with a new energy, like a storm gathering strength. Nathan's standing now, pacing slightly as he talks about market trends, his loafers silent on the carpet. His voice is smooth, like he's performed this speech 100 times, each word polished to a sheen. I sit, forcing myself to focus, but his every gesture pulls me back, a hook in my chest. The way he tucks a pen behind his ear, just like he did when we'd studied together at my kitchen table, laughing over burnt coffee, the bitter taste lingering on my tongue. I shake the memory off, but it clings heavy and sharp like a blade I can't dodge. Sheila slides a notepad toward me, her handwriting small and urgent, ask about their funding sources. I nod, grateful for her nudge, my fingers brushing the paper's edge, but my throat's tight, words stuck like stones. I try to speak, but Nathan cuts me off, answering a question I didn't even ask, his tone patronizing, a teacher scolding a slow student. "Let's keep this moving," he says, glancing at me like I'm slowing him down, a burden he's forced to carry. My chest burns, a slow fire spreading. I'm not just here for Lucas. I'm here for us. For the late nights we spent dreaming up this company, for the way he looked at me when we signed our marriage license, his eyes bright with promises we'd face anything together. But Nathan's presence is a splinter, digging deeper with every word, splintering my focus. I scribble a question about their investment timeline, my pen shaking, ink smudging slightly, and manage to ask it, my voice thin but clear. Nathan's response is vague, deflecting with jargon about liquidity, his hands gesturing broadly, dismissing me. His colleague, a guy named Trevor, smirks like they're sharing a joke. I'm not in on his teeth flashing under the lights. I feel exposed, like I'm failing Lucas in front of everyone, my carefully rehearsed numbers unraveling. My phone buzzes again, a sharp jolt in my bag, and I glance down, expecting Audrey. It's Lucas this time. A simple text. "You got this, babe." My heart twists, a pang of love and guilt. He doesn't know Nathan's here, doesn't know the history unraveling me, the way it's pulling me back to a version of myself I thought I'd buried. I haven't told him yet, and the guilt sits like a stone in my stomach, heavy and cold. I type a quick thanks and look up to find Nathan watching me, his eyes narrowing slightly, like he's reading my thoughts through the glass of my expression. "Everything okay?" he asks, his voice low, almost intimate, a tone that once made my heart race. The room fades for a second, and I'm back at that lake, his hand brushing mine, promising he'd never leave the stars above us endless. I nod, my voice gone, and he turns away, resuming his pitch like nothing happened, his back straight, untouchable. Sheila leans in again, her breath warm against my ear, her voice barely audible. "I heard their last deal tanked because of some shady loans," she whispers, her words sharp, cutting through my haze. Her eyes flick toward Nathan, wary but certain. Her words spark something, a flicker of resolve, but it's drowned by doubt, a wave of what-ifs crashing over me. What if she's wrong? What if I'm wrong? I'm not cut out for this. Not against Nathan, who seems to have rewritten our past into nothing, a blank page he's already turned. I clutch Lucas's papers, the edges crinkling under my fingers, and try to anchor myself to hold on to the reason I'm here. But then Nathan says my name sharp and sudden, asking for our financial projections, his voice slicing through the room. His tone's professional, but there's an edge like he's testing me, probing for weakness. I stammer through the numbers, my voice cracking, and I see at the faintest curl of his lip, like he's won something, a predator circling. The room feels smaller, the walls pressing in the air, stale. My phone lights up again, Audrey's name flashing, and I know she's waiting for me to fight back, to demand answers for the years of silence. But I'm frozen, caught between the deal I need to close and the boy who broke me his presence, a wound I can't close. As Nathan moves on, dismissing my input with a nod, I feel it, a quiet, gnawing fear that I'm losing more than just this meeting, that I'm losing the pieces of myself I fought so hard to rebuild. The conference room feels like it's shrinking, the fluorescent lights buzzing faintly overhead, casting stark shadows on the table. I'm Harper, 34, and my hands are clenched under the table, nails digging into my palms, leaving half-moon marks. Nathan's voice cuts through the air, sharp and commanding, as he pushes for terms that would gut Lucas's company. He wants a bigger stake, more control, and he's framing it like he's doing us a favor, his words polished like the glass walls around us. "This is a lifeline," he says, leaning forward, his watch glinting under the lights, a flash of silver that catches my eye. His confidence is suffocating, and I feel my resolve crumbling like sand slipping through my fingers. I try to counter, pointing out our growth metrics. My voice wavers, and he waves me off with a flick of his hand. "Numbers only matter if you can deliver," he says, his tone dripping with condescension, each word a barb. Trevor, his smug colleague, chuckles softly, his laugh a low rumble, and I want to disappear, to melt into the carpet beneath me. I glance at Sheila, hoping for a lifeline of her own, but she's scribbling notes, her face unreadable, her pen scratching softly. My phone's silent now, but Audrey's last text burns in my mind. Don't let him win. I'm trying, but Nathan's relentless dissecting our business plan. Like it's a high school project, his questions precise cutting. Every word feels like a jab, reminding me of how he used to twist things, making me doubt myself, his charm a mask for control. Back then, he'd promise the world, then vanish when I needed him most, leaving me to pick up the pieces alone. Now he's doing it again, but with contracts and stakes that could ruin everything Lucas and I built, our late-night dreams, reduced to numbers he's shredding. I shift in my seat, my blouse sticking to my back, the fabric damp with sweat, and try to focus. I need to be sharp for Lucas, for us, for the life we've poured everything into. Nathan calls for a break, and the room empties, voices fading down the hall, a murmur of relief. I stay seated, pretending to organize my notes, but really I'm trying to breathe, to hold myself together. He lingers at the door, adjusting his cufflinks with a practiced ease, then walks over his steps, slow, deliberate. "Harper," he says, his voice softer now, almost like the boy I knew, the one who'd whisper my name under the stars. "You're doing fine, but you're out of your depth." He pauses, his eyes locking onto mine, a flicker of something unreadable passing through them. "This isn't personal." My throat tightens, a knot I can't swallow. "Not personal. He left me shattered, and now he's dismantling my life again, and it's not personal." I want to scream, to throw his words back at him, to demand why he erased me, but I just nod. My lips press tight, my breath shallow. He walks away, leaving me alone with the hum of the air conditioning, a cold mechanical drone. I slip out to the hallway, my heels sinking into the plush carpet, each step heavy like I'm wading through water. The office is a maze of glass walls, reflecting fragments of my face, pale and strained. I find a quiet corner by a window, the city sprawling below, cars crawling like ants under a gray sky. I press my forehead against the cool glass. It's chill, grounding me. Sheila's warning about Nathan's shady deals loops in my head, but it's Audrey's voice that cuts through, sharp and insistent. Last night she told me something I hadn't known. She saw Nathan years ago in Chicago at some fancy gala. His suit tailored his laugh loud. He was surrounded by suits clinking glasses while I was still crying myself to sleep, my pillow damp with grief. He didn't even ask about you, she'd said, her voice hard, her eyes blazing with anger for me. The memory stings fresh and raw like a wound reopened the pain as sharp as it was then. My phone rings and it's Audrey, her name flashing like a warning on the screen. I answer, keeping my voice low, barely above a whisper. "You okay?" she asks, but there's an edge like she's ready to fight her words a call to arms. I tell her I'm trying, but Nathan's tearing me apart piece by piece. "Then tear him back," she says, her voice fierce, unyielding. "You're not that kid anymore." Her words spark something, a faint ember of defiance, but it's drowned by fear, a cold wave of doubt. What if I push too hard and lose the deal? What if I fail, Lucas? Our dreams crumbling because I couldn't hold it together. I hang up my hands, shaking the phone, slipping slightly in my grip, and head back to the room. Nathan's already there, flipping through papers, his face unreadable, a mask of control. As I sit, he looks up, and for a second, I see it, a flicker of something dark, like he knows exactly how deep he's cutting, how much he's taking from me. I'm Harper, 34, and the conference room feels like a trap, the air thick with unspoken truths, heavy as the city smog outside. Nathan's eyes linger on me as he resumes, his voice slicing through the hum of the room, precise and cold. He's pushing harder now, questioning our supply chain, poking holes in our strategy with a precision that feels personal, like he's aiming for my weakest points. I try to respond, clutching Lucas's notes, their pages soft from handling, but my words come out flat like I'm reading a script I don't believe in. Trevor leans back, smirking, his tie loose, and I feel their judgment like I'm a kid playing at business. My efforts laughable. Sheila's stopped writing, her pen still, her eyes fixed on the table, and I'm alone in this, drowning in Nathan's scrutiny, his gaze a weight I can't shake. He shifts tactics, asking about our debt, his tone almost gentle, like he's setting me up, luring me into a trap. I hesitate, knowing one wrong answer could sink us, could unravel everything we've built. My mind flashes to Lucas, to the way he paced our living room last week, his hair a mess, his voice strained, saying, "This deal's our last shot." I can't fail him, but Nathan's relentless, his questions like needles pricking at my confidence. I manage a vague reply, my voice barely carrying, and he nods. But it's not approval, it's pity. A look that makes my skin crawl. My stomach churns, a sick twist of failure. I'm not just failing Lucas. I'm failing myself, letting Nathan unravel me again, pulling me back to the girl who waited for him alone and broken. The room clears for another break, and I'm left with the echo of my own voice, weak and uncertain, ringing in my ears. I head to the coffee station, my hands trembling as I pour a cup, the liquid sloshing slightly, its bitterness sharp on my tongue. Sheila follows her heels, clicking softly, a steady rhythm against the chaos in my head. "You're letting him get to you," she says, her voice low but firm, her eyes searching mine for a spark of fight. I dug deeper. His firm tanked a startup last year, pushed them into bankruptcy over bad terms. Her words hit like a slap, sharp and grounding. Is that his plan? To bleed us dry, to take everything we've built? I thank her. My voice barely a whisper, my throat tight, and she squeezes my arm before walking away. Her touch a fleeting anchor. I'm grateful, but it's not enough to pull me out of this spiral, this sinking feeling that I'm losing ground. My phone buzzes, and it's Audrey again, a voicemail this time, her urgency palpable even through the screen. I step into a quiet alcove, the walls lined with abstract art, and play it, her voice sharp and urgent, cutting through the office's hum. "Harper, I'm serious. He's playing you. I checked online and his company's got lawsuits piling up. Don't let him ruin you again." Her words burn, not because they're new, but because they're true, a truth I've been dodging. Nathan's not just here to negotiate. He's here to win, to take everything, to leave me empty again. I think of that gala Audrey mentioned, him laughing while I was broken, his life untouched, while mine fractured. The betrayal sinks deeper, twisting with the fear that I'm too weak to stop him, that I'm still the girl he left behind. I return to the room, my coffee cold in my hand, the cup's weight grounding me slightly. Nathan's at the head of the table, chatting with Trevor, their laughter low and easy, a sound that grates against my nerves. He glances at me, and for a moment I see the boy who held my hand at the lake, promising forever, his touch warm against the night air. But then he turns away and it's gone, replaced by this stranger who's tearing my world apart piece by calculated piece. I sit, my heart pounding, and he starts again, this time about board seats. His demands growing bolder, his voice a steady assault. I want to fight back, to call out his lies, to demand the truth, but my voice is trapped, smothered by years of hurt, by the weight of his indifference. As he leans forward, his eyes cold and calculating, I feel it, the weight of everything I've lost, and everything I'm about to lose, pressing down until I can barely breathe. I'm Harper, 34, and the conference room feels like it's tilting, the walls closing in the air, stale and oppressive. Nathan's voice is a low hum, laying out his final offer, a deal to save Lucas's company, but it hands him majority control, stripping us of everything we've built. His words are smooth, wrapped in promises of growth, but his eyes are hard, like he's daring me to say no. His gaze a challenge I'm not sure I can meet. I grip the edge of the table, my knuckles white, my nails digging into the wood, trying to find my voice. This isn't just a contract, it's a power grab, and I'm the only thing standing in his way. Sheila's warnings about his firm's shady past flash through my mind, a jumble of headlines and whispers, but there's no time to think, no space to process. I need to respond to protect what Lucas and I built, but my throat's dry, my thoughts a tangle of fear and fury, a storm I can't navigate. I glance around, hoping for an ally, a lifeline in this chaos. Sheila's watching Nathan, her jaw tight, her eyes narrowed, but she doesn't speak, her silence a weight of its own. Trevor's tapping his pen, bored, like this is a done deal, his casual arrogance infuriating. I force myself to speak, my voice shaky but firm, cutting through the room's hum. That's too steep, I say. We need shared control, not a takeover. Nathan leans back, a faint smile curling his lips, like he expected this, like he's already won. Harper, he says, slow and deliberate, his voice a blade, you're in no position to negotiate. Your company's bleeding. Take the deal or walk away with nothing. His words hit like a punch, and the room goes quiet, every eye on me, their stares heavy, suffocating. I feel exposed, like I'm standing naked in front of them, all my vulnerabilities laid bare. Before I can respond, the door swings open, its hinges creaking, and my heart stops. It's Audrey, my sister, her face flushed, her coat still on her scarf trailing behind her. She wasn't supposed to be here. Her presence a shock that jolts me. Her eyes lock onto Nathan, and the air crackles with her anger, a raw electric force. You, she says, her voice loud enough to echo, cutting through the room's tension. You don't get to do this again. The room freezes, time slowing. Sheila's pen drops clattering on the table, and Trevor sits up, startled, his pen still. Nathan's smile fades, replaced by a flash of unease, a crack in his polished exterior. I want to sink into the floor to pull Audrey back, to stop this collision. But she's already moving toward him, her finger pointed, her steps fierce. You left her, broke her, and now you're here playing king. You're a coward. My face burns, a flush creeping up my neck. I'm Harper, 34, and my sister's tearing open wounds I've spent years stitching shut. Her words ripping through the room like a storm. I try to stand to stop her, but my legs are lead-heavy and useless. Nathan rises, his voice calm but sharp, a controlled edge. This isn't the place, he says, glancing at me like I'm the one who brought this chaos, like I invited this reckoning. Audrey laughs bitter and loud, the sound echoing off the glass walls. Oh, it's exactly the place. Tell them, Nathan. Tell them how you ran and left her to pick up the pieces. The other suits shift uncomfortably, whispering their murmurs a low buzz, and I feel their stares, judging, pitying, stripping me bare. I'm supposed to be leading this meeting, saving our company, but I'm unraveling my past, spilling out like blood, staining the pristine table. Audrey turns to me, her eyes fierce, burning with expectation. Say something, Harper. Don't let him walk over you again. Her words are a plea, but they feel like a blade cutting deeper. I open my mouth, but nothing comes out, my voice swallowed by panic. Nathan's watching me, his expression unreadable, and for a second, I see the boy I loved, the one who promised forever, his smile soft under the moonlight. Then he speaks, his voice low, cutting final. Audrey, you don't know what you're talking about. Harper and I were kids. She was better off without me. The words land like a slap, dismissing everything: our love, my pain, the years I spent wondering why, the nights I cried until my throat was raw. My chest tightens and I can't breathe, the weight of his indifference crushing me, a weight I thought I'd left behind. I'm Harper, 34, and the conference room is a blur, Audrey's voice still ringing in my ears, a sharp echo that won't fade. Nathan's words. She was better off without me cut deeper than I thought possible, stripping away the fragile armor I've built, leaving me raw. I'm trembling, my hands gripping the chair, its leather cool under my fingers, trying to anchor myself. Audrey's staring at me, waiting for me to back her up, her eyes fierce with expectation, but I'm frozen, my heart pounding so loud, I'm sure they can hear it, a relentless drum in my chest. The suits around the table shift their whispers like static, a low hum that grates against my nerves, and I feel their eyes peeling me apart, exposing every crack. Nathan clears his throat, stepping closer, his voice steady but laced with something sharp like a blade hidden in silk. Let's keep this professional, he says, addressing the room, but looking at me, his gaze a challenge. Harper, if you can't handle this, maybe someone else should. It's a challenge, a public gut punch, and Trevor's smirk widens like he's enjoying the show, his eyes glinting with amusement. My throat closes, and I'm 19 again, waiting by the lake, realizing he's not coming back, the stars mocking my hope. But this is worse. My failures on display, threatening everything Lucas and I have, our shared dreams unraveling in this sterile room. I force myself to stand, my legs unsteady, my knees trembling under my weight, and face Audrey. Please, I whisper, my voice cracking, barely audible. Go. Her eyes widen, hurt flashing across her face. A raw wound I've opened, but she doesn't move. Instead, she turns to Nathan, her voice low and venomous, each word a dagger. That's not all, she says, her voice shaking with fury. Tell her about the threats, Nathan. How your dad said he'd ruin her family if you stayed. My vision blurs the room, spinning the walls, tilting inward. Threats. My parents' small business. My mom's late-night worries about bills. Her tired eyes as she balanced the books. It all rushes back, a flood of memories I'd buried. Was that why they struggled? Because of me? I look at Nathan, searching for a denial, a flicker of regret, but his silence is deafening, his eyes avoiding mine, fixed on the table. The truth crashes over me, heavy and cold like a wave I can't outrun, and I stumble back, my chair scraping the floor, a harsh grating sound. Sheila's on her feet now, her voice cutting through, firm but strained. Enough. This isn't helping anyone. But it's too late, the damage done. My past is a wound bleeding out in front of strangers, and I'm unraveling, my strength gone, my carefully built walls crumbling. Marcus, the junior associate, watches from the corner, his phone in hand like he's recording this disaster, his fingers hovering over the screen. I'm Harper, 34, and I'm breaking my marriage, my future, my everything hanging by a thread, and all I can feel is the weight of Nathan's choices crushing me into nothing, a shadow of the woman I thought I'd become. I'm Harper, 34, and the conference room is still spinning, Nathan's confession echoing in my skull, a relentless loop of his father's threats, his choice to abandon me. It's all too much, a tidal wave of pain threatening to pull me under, drowning me in memories I thought I'd buried. But as I stand there, my hands shaking, my breath shallow, something shifts, a quiet spark in the dark. I'm not that 19-year-old girl anymore, waiting for answers that never came, her hope fading with the dawn. I'm here for Lucas, for our life, and I won't let Nathan take that too. I take a breath, steadying myself, the air sharp in my lungs, and walk out, ignoring Audrey's worried glance, her eyes wide with concern. The hallway's quiet, the glass walls reflecting my pale face, my jaw set. But I keep moving, my heels clicking with purpose, each step a small rebellion. I find a small break room empty except for a humming vending machine, its fluorescent glow casting shadows on the linoleum floor. My phone's in my hand before I realize it, and I'm dialing Lucas, my fingers trembling but sure. His voice answers, warm but tired, a familiar anchor. How's it going, babe? I hesitate. then let it spill. Nathan, our past, the deal's impossible terms, the way it's tearing me apart. My voice cracks, but I keep going, telling him how Nathan's firm might be dirty, how I'm scared I'll fail us, my words tumbling out like a confession. Lucas listens silent at first, his breathing steady through the line, then says, "You're not failing. You're fighting. We'll figure this out together." His trust grounds me like a tether, pulling me back from the edge, a reminder of the life we've built brick by brick. I hang up my mind, racing, a storm of ideas taking shape. Sheila's warnings. Marcus's tip about an investigation. There's something here. A crack in Nathan's armor, a chance to fight back. I pull out my laptop, the break room's fluorescent light buzzing overhead, harsh against my eyes, and start searching. My fingers fly across the keys, digging into Nathan's company, the screen glowing with articles. A failed merger, whispers of fraud, a lawsuit buried in legal jargon, each headline a piece of a puzzle. It's not proof, but it's enough to work with, a weapon I can wield. I think of Nathan's smug smile, his claim that I'm out of my depth, and my jaw tightens, resolve hardening like steel. He's wrong. I'm not helpless, not anymore. Not the girl he left behind. Back in the conference room, the air's tense, charged with anticipation. But I feel different, like a fire's been lit inside me, steady and fierce. Nathan's at the table, reviewing papers. His brow furrowed, and I sit across from him, my posture straight, my hands steady. I slide a new proposal forward, one I drafted during the break, tweaking Lucas's terms to protect our control, each word chosen with care. "Let's try this," I say, my voice steady for the first time today, clear and unshaken. Nathan raises an eyebrow, scanning the document, his fingers pausing, and I catch a flicker of surprise, a crack in his facade. Good. I lean forward, ready to push, knowing I'm not just fighting for the deal, I'm fighting for myself, for the woman I've become, for the strength I didn't know I had. I'm Harper, 34, and the conference room is quieter now, the tension like a held breath, the air thick with unspoken stakes. Nathan's still scanning my proposal, his fingers pausing over the page, his brow creased in thought. I've laid out terms that protect Lucas's company, demanding shared governance and a cap on their stake, a line I won't let him cross. My heart's racing, but I keep my eyes on him, steady, unyielding, my gaze a silent challenge. Trevor shifts in his seat, his earlier smirk gone, replaced by a wary glance, and Sheila's watching me, a faint nod of approval in her gaze, her eyes bright with quiet support. I'm not the same woman who stumbled through this morning's pitch, my voice trembling, my confidence frayed. I'm done letting Nathan control the board, done letting his shadow define me. He sets the papers down, his expression guarded, his fingers tapping lightly on the table. "This is bold," he says, his voice low, testing, probing for weakness. "But you're overreaching. My investors won't bite." I don't flinch, my resolve solid, unshaken. "They will," I say, leaning forward, my voice clear, cutting through the room's hum. "Your firm's under scrutiny. I've seen the articles, lawsuits, failed deals. You need a win as much as we do. It's a bluff built on scraps of research, but I see it land, a flicker of unease in his eyes. His jaw tightens just for a second, and I know I've hit a nerve, a crack in his polished armor. The room feels sharper, every sound amplified, the rustle of papers, the creak of a chair, the faint hum of the city outside. I think of Lucas, his voice on the phone, steady and trusting, his belief in me, a lifeline. I think of Audrey, her fierce belief in me, even when I doubted myself, her words a spark in the dark. And I think of the girl I was waiting by that lake, believing Nathan's promises defined my worth, her heart breaking under the weight of his absence. That girl's gone, replaced by someone stronger, someone who fights. I reach into my bag, pulling out a small silver necklace, the one Nathan gave me 15 years ago. A cheap trinket I kept for reasons I never understood, its chain worn from years of being held. I set it on the table, not breaking eye contact, the metal glinting under the lights. "You don't get to decide what I'm worth anymore," I say, my voice quiet but firm, each word a step toward freedom. The necklace sits there, a silent challenge, and Nathan's eyes flicker to it, his composure cracking a shadow of the boy I knew. Trevor clears his throat, trying to redirect his voice, a nervous stutter. But I cut him off, addressing Nathan directly, my words deliberate. We're equals in this deal, or we walk. My words hang in the air, heavy with intent. And for the first time I feel the weight of my own power, a strength I didn't know I had. Sheila slides me a note, her handwriting quick, keep pushing. He's rattled. I nod slightly, drawing strength from her quiet alliance. Her support a steady hand. My phone buzzes and I glance down, Audrey texting, proud of you. I don't reply, but her words fuel me, a reminder of the family I'm fighting for, the life I've built despite Nathan's shadow, the roots I've planted. Nathan leans back, his fingers drumming on the table, a habit I remember from our late-night talks, his hands restless against the quiet. He's searching for a way out, but I'm not giving him one, my resolve unyielding. You've changed, he says finally, his voice almost soft, like he's seeing me for the first time, a flicker of recognition in his eyes. I don't respond, letting the silence stretch heavy with everything he took from me, the years I spent rebuilding. The room's still, the other suits watching, waiting, their breaths held. I stand gathering my papers, my movements deliberate, each motion a claim to my own strength. Take the terms to your team, I say, my eyes locked on his, unwavering. We'll wait. I turn and walk to the door, my hand on the knob, the metal cool under my palm, and pause, feeling the weight of every step I've taken to get here, each one a victory. I don't look back, but I know he's watching, and for once I'm the one in control. I'm Harper, 34, and the hallway outside the conference room feels colder now, the hum of the office muted as I lean against the wall, its surface smooth and unyielding. My proposal's out there, a line drawn in the sand, and Nathan's silence as I left the room lingers like a bruise, tender and raw. I'm waiting for his team's response, my heart steady but heavy, knowing I've shifted something irreversible, a tide turning in my favor. The necklace I left on the table sits in my mind, a small act of defiance that feels bigger now, like I've shed a skin I didn't know I was wearing, a weight I've carried too long. Sheila catches up to me, her steps quick, her heels tapping a sharp rhythm on the tile. That was gutsy, she says, her eyes bright with something like respect, her voice low but warm. She hands me a USB drive, her fingers brushing mine, the plastic cool and solid in my palm. Some files on their deals. Might help if they push back. I take it, my fingers closing around it, and nod, too overwhelmed to speak, my throat tight with gratitude. Her trust is a lifeline, but it also sharpens the stakes, a reminder of what's at risk. If I'm wrong about Nathan's vulnerabilities, I've risked everything. Lucas and I have our dreams teetering on the edge of my bluff. My phone lights up with a text from Lucas. Just got your voicemail. I'm with you always. His words are simple, but they hit hard, reminding me of the quiet evenings we spent planning our future. His hand steady in mine, his laugh warm in the dim light of our old apartment. I haven't told him about the necklace or how I bluffed about Nathan's legal troubles, the gamble I took without his knowledge. Guilt twists in my chest, not for what I did, but for the space it's opened between us, a crack I can't ignore. I'm protecting our company, but at what cost to us, to the trust we've built? I slip the phone into my pocket, promising myself I'll call him later when I can find the right words, when the weight of this day isn't so heavy. Back in the conference room, Nathan's team is huddled, their voices low, papers shuffling, a tense murmur filling the space. Nathan stands apart, staring out the window, his back to me, his silhouette sharp against the city skyline. I take my seat, the USB drive hidden in my bag, its presence a quiet power. I watch him, my eyes tracing the lines of his shoulders, tense and unyielding. He turns, catching my eye, and for a moment there's no mask, just raw frustration, like I've cracked his carefully built world, a world I was never meant to challenge. He walks over, his movements deliberate, and stops by my chair, his shadow falling over me. You're playing a dangerous game, he says, his voice so quiet, it's almost a whisper laced with something heavy. You don't know what you're stirring up. His words aren't a threat, not exactly, but they carry weight, like he's warning me about something bigger than this deal, a shadow I can't see. I hold his gaze, my pulse steady, my breath even. I'm not playing, I say, my voice calm but firm, a quiet defiance. He studies me, searching for weakness, but I don't flinch, my eyes locked on his. The room's still, the other suits glancing our way, sensing the shift, the air electric. Nathan steps back, his expression unreadable, and rejoins his team, his movements stiff. I'm left with the echo of his warning, my mind racing, questions piling up. What don't I know? What's he hiding? The USB in my bag feels heavier. A secret I'm not sure I'm ready to uncover, a truth that could change everything. For the first time, I wonder if I've pushed too far, if the strength I found is leading me somewhere I can't come back from, a path I didn't choose but can't avoid. I'm Harper, 34, and the conference room is a quiet storm, the air thick with unspoken shifts, the weight of my actions settling like dust. Nathan's team files back in, their faces tight, their eyes darting, and I know my proposal has rattled them, shaken their confidence. Nathan takes his seat, his movements slow, deliberate, like he's measuring every step, his hands steady but tense. He announces they'll accept my terms with minor tweaks, preserving Lucas's control, a victory I didn't expect. His voice is even, but his eyes don't meet mine, and that small avoidance stings more than I expected, a reminder of the distance between us. I've won this round, but it feels hollow, like I've traded one weight for another, a new burden I'm only beginning to understand. As the room clears, I linger, gathering my notes, needing a moment to breathe, to process the shift. Nathan approaches alone now, his tie loosens slightly, his collar open, a hint of vulnerability. You wanted the truth? He says, his voice low, almost tired, carrying the weight of years. My father didn't just threaten your family. He had leverage debts, secrets. If I stayed, he'd have destroyed you. His words are a slow burn, each one sinking deeper, a truth I didn't want to face. My parents' struggling store. The late-night fights I overheard as a kid, my dad's tired sighs as he pored over receipts, it all clicks, a puzzle I never wanted solved. I search his face for remorse, but there's only resignation, like he's unburdened himself at my expense, leaving me to carry the weight. I don't respond, my throat too tight, my breath caught. He waits, his eyes searching mine, then turns away, his footsteps soft on the carpet, leaving me with the echo of his confession. My victory over the deal fades, overshadowed by this new truth, a wound I didn't expect to reopen. I think of Lucas waiting at home, trusting me to carry us through, his faith in me unwavering. I haven't told him about this part of Nathan's story, and the omission feels like a crack in our foundation, a fracture I'm afraid to face. My phone buzzes, Audrey, asking if I'm okay, but I can't answer, not yet, my fingers frozen on the screen. I slip out to the restroom, locking the door behind me, the click loud in the silence. The mirror shows a woman I barely recognize, her eyes hollow, carrying a truth too heavy to hold her reflection, a stranger staring back. I splash water on my face, the cold biting my skin, sharp and grounding, and lean against the sink, its edge digging into my palms. Sheila's USB is still in my bag, a ticking clock I haven't dared to open, its weight a constant reminder. What else is Nathan hiding? What else have I stirred up? The deal's safe, but my world feels fragile, like one wrong move could shatter it, like I'm standing on glass. I think of calling Lucas, of confessing everything, of laying bare the truth about Nathan's father, but the words won't come, stuck in my throat. Instead, I stand there, the silence pressing in my reflections, staring back, and I wonder if I've fought for the right things, or if I've just unearthed a pain I can't outrun, a truth that changes everything I thought I knew. I'm Harper, 34, and the evening air is cool against my skin as I sit on our front porch, the wooden steps creaking beneath me, their familiar groan a small comfort. The deal's done, Lucas's company safe, but I'm still carrying the weight of Nathan's truth, his words heavy in my chest. The street's quiet, just the hum of crickets and the soft glow of streetlights casting long shadows across the lawn. I wrap my sweater tighter, its wool soft but worn, watching the horizon turn purple, the sky bleeding into dusk. For the first time in days, I let myself breathe the air sharp and clean, a moment of stillness after the storm. I'm not the same woman who walked into that office trembling at the sight of a past I couldn't face, my heart racing with fear. Lucas is inside cooking dinner, the clatter of pots, a familiar comfort, the smell of garlic drifting through the open window. We talked when I got home, sitting at our kitchen table, the one we bought secondhand when we were broke and dreaming big, its scratches telling our story. I told him about Nathan's father, the threats, The reasons behind the abandonment, my voice steady but raw. His face tightened, not with anger but with hurt that I'd carried it alone, his eyes searching mine for answers. "We're a team," he set his hand over mine, warm and steady. "No more secrets." His words were gentle, but they landed heavy, a reminder of the trust I'd stretched thin, a promise I'd nearly broken. I promised to do better, and he kissed my forehead, a quiet vow to meet me halfway, his breath warm against my skin. Now, alone on the porch, I think about my mom, how she'd sit out here when I was a kid. Her coffee mug steaming as she watched the sunrise, her face calm despite the world's weight. She died when I was 20, but her strength lingers in the way she'd laugh through hard days in the garden. She loved its flowers bright against our old fence. I've been thinking about her more lately, maybe because I'm searching for that same resilience, that quiet defiance. I stand brushing off my jeans, the denim rough under my fingers, and walk to the corner of the yard where her old flower beds sit overgrown and neglected, their outlines barely visible in the fading light. The soil's dry, but it smells of earth, of possibility, a scent that grounds me. I kneel, my fingers tracing the dirt, cool and gritty, and decide to plant something new, a small act to root myself in the present, to claim this moment as mine. My phone buzzes, and it's a text from Audrey. "You good?" I smile, picturing her at home. Probably pacing with worry, her hands restless as always. She's been my shield for so long, her love fierce and unyielding, but I don't need protecting anymore. I text back, "Better than good," and mean it, my fingers steady on the screen. The stars are starting to show faint pinpricks against the dusk, and I feel a quiet shift, like I'm stepping into a version of myself I've been afraid to claim, a woman who's faced her ghosts and kept walking. I'm not healed, not fully, but I'm here choosing what comes next, each choice a small victory. I'm Harper, 34, and the porch is my refuge, the night settling around me like a soft blanket, its quiet wrapping me close. The flower beds still under my nails, a gritty reminder of the seeds I'll plant tomorrow. Maybe daisies like my mom used to grow, their white petals bright against the earth. I'm not gardening to fix anything, just to build something new, something mine, a small claim to the future. The thought steadies me like a quiet pulse beneath the chaos of the past few days, a rhythm I can lean into. I lean back, the wood cool against my palms, its grain rough under my fingers, and let my eyes trace the stars, brighter now, stitching the sky together, a map of light I'm learning to follow. Inside, Lucas calls me for dinner, his voice warm through the screen door, carrying the comfort of routine. I don't move yet, needing this moment to myself, this pocket of stillness. I think about Nathan, not with anger, but with a strange clarity, a calm I didn't expect. His choices shaped me, but they don't own me, not anymore. I've spent years carrying his shadow, letting it whisper, I wasn't enough, a weight I didn't know I could set down. But sitting here, I see it. I've built a life not despite him, but because I kept going step by stubborn step. Lucas, Audrey. This house. These are my choices, my roots, the ground I've claimed as mine. My phone pings, and it's Sheila sending a quick note. "You were fierce. Drink sometime." I smile, typing a yes, grateful for her unexpected friendship, her quiet strength, a mirror to my own. She's been a mirror showing me a strength I didn't trust before, a reflection I'm starting to believe. I set the phone down and stand, stretching the night air, filling my lungs crisp and full of promise. I walk to the edge of the porch, my bare feet brushing the grass, cool and damp, and look at the street where I used to ride my bike, fearless and small, my laughter echoing in the dusk. That girl's still in me. But she's wiser now. Her edges softened by time, her heart stronger for it. Lucas steps outside, his silhouette framed by the kitchen light, his shirt sleeves rolled up, a dish towel over his shoulder. "Food's ready," he says, but he doesn't rush me, his eyes soft, understanding. He knows I need this, the quiet before we sit together, the space to gather myself. I turn to him, my heart full, and nod, a small smile breaking through. The stars overhead feel closer, like they're listening, and as I walk toward the door, my steps light. I carry a stillness I haven't felt in years, a peace that doesn't erase the past, but holds it gently, letting me move forward one breath at a time. I'm Harper, 34, and the morning light spills through our kitchen window, soft and golden on the counter, painting the room in warmth. It's been a week since the deal closed, since I faced Nathan and walked away with more than a contract, a victory I'm still learning to hold. I'm at the table, a mug of tea warming my hands, the steam curling up like a quiet promise, its herbal scent grounding me. Lucas is at the office. His company steadier now, its future brighter, and I'm here in this small moment, finding my footing, my place in this new chapter. I've started waking early, not to rush, but to sit with myself, to listen to the world before it wakes, to the birds outside their calls, soft against the dawn. The house smells of fresh paint. We're redoing the spare room, turning it into a workspace for me, a space to claim as my own. I've taken on a bigger role in the business, not just filling in but shaping it, my voice growing surer with each meeting, my ideas taking root. It's strange feeling capable in a way I hadn't before, like I've unlocked a door I didn't know was there, its hinges rusty but yielding. I think about the woman who froze in that office, her heart racing at the sight of an old love, her hands trembling with doubt. She's still me, but softer now, less afraid of her own scars, her edges smoothed by the choices she's made. Audrey came by yesterday, her laugh filling the house as we sorted through old photos, their corners curled with age. We found one of us as kids, gap-toothed and grinning, arms around each other, the summer sun bright behind us. She hugged me after tight and wordless, her embrace warm, and I felt the years of her protection settle into gratitude, a bond deeper than words. We're planning a trip next month, just the two of us, to a cabin our mom loved, its wooden walls etched in my memory. It's not about fixing the past, but about carrying her with us, her strength woven into who we are, her love a thread that holds us. I keep that photo on the fridge now, a reminder of where I come from, of the roots that hold me steady even when the ground shakes. I step outside, the grass, cool under my feet, tickling my toes, and check the flower bed I planted, its soil dark and rich. Tiny green shoots are breaking through, fragile but stubborn, reaching for the sun, their tips bright against the earth. I water them gently, the can heavy in my hands, its metal cool, and feel a quiet pride, a small triumph. These small acts, planning, showing up, they're my rebellion against the pain I carried too long away to claim my place in the world. I'm not whole, not yet, but I'm building something real, something that doesn't need to be perfect to be enough. The air is crisp, the day just beginning, and I stand there breathing slow, letting the weight of yesterday slip a little further away, a burden I'm learning to set down. I'm Harper, 34, and the afternoon sun is warm on my shoulders as I walk through our neighborhood. The sidewalks cracked but familiar, their lines a map of my life. I've started these walks lately not to escape, but to think, to let my mind wander without hurry, to find clarity in the quiet. The trees are turning their leaves, a soft gold rustling in the breeze, and I notice things I never did before, a kid's chalk drawing on the pavement, bright swirls of color. A neighbor's wind chimes singing in the breeze, their notes soft and fleeting. It's ordinary, this life, but it's mine, and I'm learning to hold it close, flaws, and all to cherish its small beauties. I'm not running from the past anymore. I'm choosing what to carry forward, what to let shape me. Yesterday I met Sheila for coffee, her stories of her own battles filling the air between us, her voice warm with shared understanding. She's tough, but there's a warmth in her laugh, a reminder that strength doesn't mean going it alone, that it's built in connection. I gave her a small potted plant from my garden, a thank you for her quiet support that day in the office, its leaves green and vibrant. She smiled, surprised, her fingers brushing the pot, and I realized I'm building something new. Not just with Lucas or Audrey, but with people who see me as I am now, not who I was, not the girl who broke. That's a gift I didn't expect, one I'm learning to give myself, to a permission to be enough. I think about Nathan sometimes, not with bitterness, but with a kind of distant clarity, a lens that's finally come into focus. His choices hurt me, but they also pushed me to find my own way, to build a life I could stand in. I don't forgive him, not fully, but I don't need to, not anymore. Forgiveness isn't about him. It's about me, about letting go of the weight I've carried too long, the doubt that clung to me like damp cloth. I've stopped looking for apologies that won't come, stopped waiting for a closure he can't give. Instead, I'm learning to trust my own heart to know it's enough to be Harper 34, a woman who falls, who fights, who grows, who keeps walking despite the cracks. Pain doesn't define me. It's just one thread in the story I'm still writing, one color in a larger weave. The lesson I've found, the one that sits with me as I walk these quiet streets, is simple but hard-won. Healing isn't a finish line, not a place you arrive and stay. It's showing up day after day, choosing to build, even when the ground feels shaky, when the past pulls at you. It's letting yourself feel the hurt, but not letting it decide who you become, not letting it steal your light. We all carry scars, but they're proof we're here, still reaching for the light, still growing through the cracks. I'm not perfect, but I'm enough, and that's a truth I'm holding tight, a truth I'm learning to live. What's a moment that helped you see your own strength? I'd love to hear your story in the comments. It's these connections that make this journey mean something. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to join me for more. Share this with someone who might need it. We all need a reminder sometimes. Thank you for being here, for listening. Here's to healing, to growing, to finding our way, one step at a time.